Hey everybody, welcome to Drive Thru Review 222. Today I'm going to talk about Nothing Personal. This is a game from Dice Tower Designs, designed by Tom Vasel and Stephen Avery. It plays 3 to 5 players, and it's kind of a card game, kind of a board game. There's a lot of negotiation that can happen, kind of at different points throughout the game. As you can see, it's sort of a mafia theme. You basically are trying to gain respect, and which are basically victory points through different card play and different actions and types of things that you're going to do, sort of manipulating this hierarchy from like the Don to the counselor down to the different button men and all the different mafia guys. So let me show you how it works, and then I'll come back and tell you what I think. Okay, so I've got the game set up here before play. I want to make a couple of quick notes before I get into the rules too much. First of all, Tom Vasel, one of the designers, he put up 4 videos, basically how to play videos that are excellent. So if you go to the Board Game Geek page and walk through those, they're really relatively short and to the point, and we'll just get you jumping right in. Now, I have seen some comments made by Tom himself, actually, and some other folks that the rules are not that great. Just to be totally forthcoming there, let's see, where is the name? It's in here somewhere. There it is, Joel Eddy. So I was one of the play testers, and but I do actually enjoy this game quite a bit. Just thought I would be, upfront about that. And honestly, didn't have trouble with the rules because, I play tested this a couple of times about a year ago or so. So didn't have any trouble with the rules then. Read through the rules again, just to kind of see. Honestly, didn't have any issues. Now, there is a couple of spots on the board here, like this area here, where you need to get stickers from Game Salute. My copy came with the stickers, but if you don't get a little sheet of stickers, you will need to ask them for that to fix a couple of things on the board. But other than that, I didn't have any issues. But people have had issues, so I would definitely recommend go watch Tom's videos and just to get any clarification. But to me, the issues are very minor. The second note, I just want to make a quick note. I don't usually talk about components, but the components in this game are absolutely ridiculous. You can see the thickness of the player boards are really cool, and these player boards are actually totally unnecessary. The cards are actually really good. They're loose, but they're not like cheap, which is cool. And the game comes with a bunch of these tuck boxes. So you can see the influence cards up there. There's tuck boxes for those. You got a tuck box for the gangster cards, and then all the player pieces can go in here. So the player pieces are basically these influence tokens here that you're going to be placing out on the different gangsters, trying to influence their actions and their abilities. And then you have these little gangster type meeples, which are going to go down here on the reputation track, and then you just keep track of points that way. So it's cool. It's a different way of storing components. And then also, if we go up here, we have these really awesome thick monies. Maybe I don't want to get to Tom's head here. Maybe the best money I've seen in the game. I do like little tiny card monies, but these are super thick and meaty and fun to play with while you wait for your turn. Finally, component-wise, we got some nice custom dice here for different actions. You have some of these sort of gold-like tokens for blackmail, which is really nice. And then finally, you have sort of a first player marker that is an actual ring, and the player who's the first player, or basically who controls the capo there at the top. I'll explain that more later. Their special ability is sort of signified by this ring here. So basically, you're going to play the game in 5 rounds. You've got these little markers here, and you can use these to kind of walk down the different phases, and then once you get down to the end, you'll start the next one, and then basically once this fills up, you're going to be able to track, kind of where you're at in the game and which round you're on. You can actually play a short game, and I actually would definitely recommend the short game for your first time, because every time I played this with new people, the game seemed to go a little bit longer. The box says about 2 hours, and really it should play 2 hours or less, but I've definitely seen it go over, especially when you play 5 and half the people are new. So what are you trying to do in the game? Well, you're going to get a hand of these influence cards here, and these will be able to place influence on different types of gangsters. So if we take a look at Mr. McFedo here, you can see he always starts the game in the capo position, and he is basically all types of gangsters. He has 3 reputation and 3 money that you'll be able to collect in the round if you control him, and all the gangsters basically have that sort of breakdown. They may have a special ability above and beyond the type, so you can see this guy's sort of a hitman and a thug, but he doesn't give you any reputation or money, but he has a sort of special ability. So you're going to be playing these cards throughout the game, putting influence on the different types of gangsters, anybody that has the type. And then some of these have sort of or special abilities, and then some of these can be played later on in the round. But basically that's what you're doing, and then you're trying to play those, and then later in the round you'll collect influence and do some special abilities and reputation and money, and then try to have the most reputation at the end of the game. So let's talk through these turn steps, and you can get a better idea how the game works. So you are going to start the game by placing influence one at a time until each player's placed 3 influence out onto different gangsters there. The thing to keep in mind with this guy here is once somebody has influence on him, then the ring marking who the capo is controlling the capo is going to change immediately. So if I put 2 on here and then you add 3 influence, you're going to get this immediately. And what this guy does, whoever controls the capo basically breaks ties. So if there's ever a tie, for the most part, then the capo will decide who breaks it, and then they can ask for bribes or further favors later in the game. There's quite a bit of that in the game. I will say the nice thing about the negotiation in this game, because negotiating games are pretty much hit or miss with me, but if the negotiation can be kept small and sort of confined to different moments in the game and not sort of a broad "will you please let me win" idea, then I kind of like it, and that's kind of how it happens here. Just issues come up during the game, people have to sort of make deals, and then you kind of move on. So the first thing people are going to be able to do every turn is play these influence cards. And like I said, you play the card and it'll allow you to add influence to different types of gangsters. Sometimes special effects where you'll do it, and then maybe somebody else will have to play influence, and you can sort of negotiate for that. So if I play this and it says you could put 2 influence on this type of gangster and this type of gangster, and then you have to let somebody else play influence on another type of gangster, and people can sort of beg and barter for that privilege. Now everybody gets 1 round of playing cards, and then starting with the start player, you can play another card, but then you can pay money. So if everybody plays 1 card, and it comes to my turn, I'm going to play this card, then I'm going to pay $3. So that means everybody now after me has to pay at least $3 to be able to play any further cards. And if they want, they can even raise the price. So I play 3, play this card, and then Billy to my left, he'll play this card and he'll pay 5. And that's kind of a way of sort of pricing people out of the game. Now you can, anytime you want, sell a card for $8. So if it comes my turn and we've played maybe a round of influence cards, I really want to play this one, don't have use for this one, sell it for $8. Maybe that'll give me the money to be able to play it. So you can do that anytime, doesn't take an action or anything, you just sell it for $8 and then you got the money. So after we've got a bunch of influence out here on the board, then we're going to go through and kind of resolve this pyramid here of gangsters. So actually I'm going to resolve them from the top down and then from the bottom up. And we're going to first resolve the reputation and the money. So whoever here controls the capo in this case is going to get 7 reputation, because you've got 3 from the card plus 4 from the spot. And then you've got $7 as well. And then we're going to go down here to number 8, the Underboss. And you can see you're going to get 5 reputation and 6 money. And then you're going to go over here, and you can see this is a multiplier here, so you're going to get 4 reputation and 7 money, and all the way down here to the bottom. And you can see also we have these associates here. I'll talk about these in a minute, but these will come on the board as maybe the gangsters get killed. And then once you get down here to the bottom, then you're going to be able to, if you want, take an action with the bottom guy, and then you work your way back up to the top there. So there's a few different things you can do in this sort of action phase. Now, you can always take the action of the spot here. So this one says pay $10 to whack a gangster, but basically means try to kill it. And then, or you can do the action of the card if it has it on there. You can also, if you want, try to make a move here. And you can kind of see these arrows like this. And basically you can try to take over the spot there. So that's pretty simple. You're just going to kind of work your way back up, and then whoever gets to control the gangster gets to take the action, or again make the move. Now it is feasible if you have one of these blackmail tokens on here. Let's say we had Red had 2 markers on there, and then gray had a blackmail token. That means red cannot do this action phase here unless gray basically agrees to it. So gray can kind of, sort of extort or, whatever from the red player to get either to do the action that gray wants it to do, or maybe have it so it doesn't target gray or something like that. Now there are certain cards that will allow you to put these blackmail tokens on there, and that's how those get out there. So to make a move, you're going to take and roll the making a move die here, and that's this black die. And what you're going to do is you're going to roll this, and then you're going to add the number roll to the number on the card. So in this case, if we rolled a 3, then we would have a 3 plus 2 would be 5. And if we're trying to go up here to the racketeer position, you can see the number of the position is a 5. Now you have to exceed that number, so having 5, 3 plus 2, is not going to do us any good here. Now if you roll a ring, that means you're going to succeed no matter what. And if you roll a knife, that means the gangster that was attempting the move basically gets shivved in the back, and he actually is going to die. So if we are successful with making a move, these 2 guys are basically going to swap spaces, and then the controller of the successful mover is going to gain 4 respect, and then the gangster who gets moved down, the controller of them, is going to lose 4 respect. And if you successfully move, and this is very important now, you're going to add a neutral control marker to that gangster that successfully moved. And this is important. I'll explain why in a little bit. Now there's a lot of different special abilities on the different gangster cards and things. The only thing I'm going to talk about now is actually whacking a gangster. So if you can see the ability of whoever's in the 3rd guy spot can whack a gangster. You pay $10, and then you can roll the whack a gangster die. And basically if you roll guns, then you're going to kill the guy, as well as the ring again. And if you roll an axe, you fail, and then again if you roll the knife, you fail, but then again the guy attempting the whacking is going to die. And if you fail again, you're going to lose 4 reputation, and if you win, then you're going to gain 4 reputation. Then whoever gets killed is going to lose 4 reputation. Now if you want to whack the capo, that costs you an additional $10, so that'll cost you $20 right off the top. Now anytime a die is rolled, anybody can pay to re-roll it. And that's actually very interesting. I've seen a lot of games where even the 2 people not involved will pay, to re-roll a die, whether to, get rid of a success or try to give it another attempt. So you can always pay $10 to re-roll the die. So after playing influence cards, getting influence on the board, resolving all the respect and the money and the special abilities, you're going to be able to draw influence cards. Now, if you control no gangsters, you get kind of out of luck there. You're going to draw 4 cards. If you control 2 or more, you're going to draw 2. So it's kind of a little bit of a catch-up mechanism. And then you're going to be able to actually buy cards. So you draw your sort of basic, influence cards, and then you can buy additional cards. And you can buy additional cards for $10 each. You do have to sort of declare how many cards you're going to buy. So you can't buy 1 and then draw 1 and then buy another and buy another. You got to say, I'm going to buy 3 cards and then, pay your $30. After that, we're going to move down here to the feds phase. And this is where we're going to possibly arrest gangsters. So again, like I said, let's move this card over here. Once you get a ton of influence on your guy here, and this includes the neutral influence, then this gangster here will be sent to prison. Now that is determined by the number of players. You can see here, so 3 players. If there's 9 or more influence, again including neutral, then at this point in the game, this guy will get sent to prison. And over here on the side of the board, I should note there is a prison, and then there is sleeping with the fishes. Now, the dead gangsters will stay dead. There are some cards you can play to manipulate the prison and get guys out of prison and such. Finally, after the feds phase, then we're going to fill jobs, which is basically, if we zoom out here, filling up any empty positions. This board's come a little bit of a mess here, but basically all of these guys are going to kind of move up, and then we're going to move associates over. And I've seen even a game, I'm trying to remember, this one was a while ago, we basically had 1 guy left on the board. Everybody had been killed or sent to prison or whatever, and so we had to move. Everybody was a totally different board, and that's pretty rare, but it was actually kind of fun because it was just totally changed kind of the dynamics, because everybody kind of was used to what the special powers were and who had control what. And I should say, just a comment on top of my head here, is you can actually put influence on these guys here in expectation that they're going to kind of move up at some point. So that is a possibility as well. And one other thing I forgot is you can always discard 1 influence card just for itself to put 1 influence on anybody you want. So regardless of what the card says, when you're playing the influence cards at the beginning. You can discard one just to put on anybody you want. And that's pretty much the game. You're going to again do 4 or 5 rounds, and then whoever has the most respect here at the end is going to be the winner. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the overview. This game is very interesting to me because of how sort of free-flowing it is. You know, most games there's a certain kind of structure. There's like a turn structure and all these different things. If you think of like a Euro game, even like an Ameritrash game, you're pretty sort of confined to like, the spaces on the board and things. But this game actually doesn't really take place too much. This may sound weird, but like on the board it kind of takes place more up here. So the players are definitely more engaged at each other than sort of spaces in front of them, which is cool because you are constricted by what you can do by the cards that you're dealt. But because you have sort of freedom just to kind of sell cards and get rid of them, and then draw a bunch of cards and sort of manipulate a little bit to be able to if you're in a situation where you don't feel like you have a lot that you can do, you can kind of negotiate your way into being able to do something at least somewhat meaningful. Which sometimes card games, you get kind of just iced by the card draw. This isn't really about that. So, and then I see also, like I said, with the negotiation, it doesn't seem to take place the whole game, so it doesn't really bog down. It does kind of bog down at the end, but it seems like every time I play this, it's always been with new people, so that'll kind of bog things down. But I think once people get a play under their belt, then and then you get the idea that okay, this is kind of a seat of your pants type of game. It's not really meant to be analyzed so much. But yeah, so I think that is really a good aspect of the game. It doesn't bog down a lot, though. I don't want to try to overemphasize that too much because you have, like I said, points of negotiation. So like if you have a tie for influence, and like who decides who is influencing that gangster? Well, it's the capo, and he's got the ring, and so you have a quick negotiation with him, and that's it. And then you say, okay, well, Billy, you've got control of this, so you're going to get the respect and the special abilities and all that stuff, and you just keep moving. And then, like I said, some of the cards you play, you'll say, okay, you've got to let another player play influence somewhere, and you can kind of, barter for that. So, like I was saying with the hand of cards, you may not have you feel like you have the greatest thing at first, but then you can kind of barter, and somebody else may be desperate to get that one influence because, they got some cards that kind of go with it. So there's a nice set of dynamics that happens there. And the fun factor is really there with whacking guys and moving guys up and kind of rolling the dice. And, we had one game where we must have been like 3 different people paid $10 to re-roll the die because somebody was whacking the capo or something like that. And, it was like, one guy did it, he succeeded. He's like, no, I'm paying $10, re-roll that thing. And then he failed, and I was like, no, I wanted him to die. Here's $10. So a lot of people were spending their money. And that's one thing that's interesting. I've seen players where they don't get a lot of money early on, so that kind of drags for them a little bit. And I think if you're focused on getting money early, that makes the game a little more fun because it gives you that extra freedom. And you do kind of see that shift. Like early game, people fight for money, and then late game, now everybody's going for the reputation because that's what wins you the game. So anyway, again, component quality is through the roof. I mean, ridiculous. I mean, why can't all games have this good of components? And the art's really cool. I didn't really highlight the art too much. It's a lot of board game personalities and things on there and sort of caricaturized into sort of this mafia world. It does a really good job. So if you're familiar with some of these, a lot of guys in the Dice Tower network and stuff, it's great in interpretations of them. So anyway, definitely a cool game. It does tend to run a little long, especially with 5, but I say you don't really want to play this with 3 because there's not enough negotiation that happens. I say 4 seems to be the perfect amount because it doesn't go too long. With 5, I don't know, it just seems to kind of tip over into that longish phase, but also I'm breaking one of my rules when I review stuff because I hate when people say it's too long with 5. Well, of course it's too long with 5, but you're playing with 5 people. But anyway, I think it's too long with 5. So I think 4 is perfect, and so it plays alright with 3. I don't really like it with 3. It should be 4 or 5. And then, especially as people get to know with a 5-player game, you just kind of play and not worry too much about winning or losing. Then this will be fun. So there you go. Nothing personal. Thanks.